So in this video we're going to go over how to graph a line when we've been given a point that's on the line as well as the slope of the line. So in this example it says graph the line whose slope is 4 and that contains the point -3, 1. So first thing I'm going to do is plot this point. So I'm going to go down to my grid here. I'm going to go over -3, 1. Here's the ordered pair -3, 1 on my graph. And then, just so that I'm having good habits, I'm going to go ahead and draw in my arrows. That's a sad, sick arrow there. I'm going to label my axes, having those good habits. I'm told that the slope of the line is 4. And so what I want to remember is that slope is rise over run. Or we can think of it as being the change in the y, or the change in the vertical direction, divided by the change in the x. And here I'm told that the change in y over change in x, or the slope, is 4. And initially this could throw me off because I could ask the question, well, I need delta y over delta x, or rise over run, but I only have a 4. But we want to recognize that 4 can be rewritten as 4 over 1. And it's still equal to 4. So that tells us that the rise, or the change in y, is 4, and the run, or the change in x, is +1. So what we do, once we know what the rise and the run are, the 4 and the 1, we go over to the point that we've been told is on the graph, and we rise 4, so rise 4, and we run 1 to the right. So both movements are in the positive direction, because both numbers are positive numbers. So we go +4 up, +1 over, and that gives us another point on the graph. And then if I were doing this on paper, I would have a ruler so that I could draw a nice straight line connecting those points. And in general, like on homework, I think you would be expected to use a ruler to do that drawing. I can't do a ruler in PowerPoint, so I'm forced to freehand it. And then once I've drawn the line through the 2 points that I have, I need to label those points. So this point here is input -2, output 5. And this was the given point, so it's the point -3, 1. And then I want to make sure I'm going to get full credit, so I'm checking for, do I have my linear function? I do. Do I have the arrows on it? I do. Do I have arrows on my axes? I do. Did I label my axes x and y? I did. Did I label the 2 points with their ordered pairs? Yes, I did. Okay, I have every feature that I need to get full credit on a graph. So here's another example. Graph the line whose slope is -2/3 and that contains the point 1, 3. So I'm going to go in, clean my graph up, label my axes, and then plot the point that I've been given, which is the point over 1 up 3, input 1, output 3. And then I look at the slope, and the slope we know is rise over run, or delta y over delta x, and we're told that it's -2 over 3. So that means that the rise is -2, and the run, or the horizontal movement, is +3. They aren't both negative. If they were both negative, I'd get negative divided by negative is a positive number. So the negative sign here has to go with one of the 2 numbers. It can't go with both. I could actually put it with the 3 if I wanted to. I could make it -3, but then the 2 would need to be positive, because positive divided by negative is still a negative number. So usually you keep it with the numerator, but it can only go with one of the 2 numbers. So this is actually in the vertical direction. This tells us we need to drop 2, and this is a +3, so in the horizontal direction we need to go 3 units in the positive direction. So we go to the point that we're given. The rise is -2, so we drop 2, and then the run is +3, so we go 3 in the positive direction. We establish the second point, and then we get a ruler out, and we draw the line through those 2 points. We put arrows on that line, and then we label the ordered pairs. This was the given ordered pair 1, 3. This is the ordered pair I came up with by doing the rise over run movement. So this is input 4, output 1. And now I have something that's completely labeled and should get full credit on an exam as long as I draw this using a ruler. So last couple of examples here. So these are special cases. This one says graph the line whose slope is 0 and that contains the point 33. So I'm going to step in, clean up my graph, my Cartesian plane, label my axes appropriately. I'm given the point 33, so I'm going to go ahead and label that point in. And then it says the line whose slope is 0, and what we need to remember is that if the slope is 0, implies I have a horizontal line, right? The slope is 0, which means we're flat. And to be flat means to be horizontal or parallel to the x-axis. There's the line that passes through the given point whose slope is 0. So that went through the point 33. Now I'm asked to graph the line whose slope is undefined, and that passes through the point -3, -2. So I plot input -3, output -2, and it says that the slope needs to be undefined, and what we need to recall is that if a slope is undefined, that implies that we have a vertical line. We have something that's got infinite slope, so we can't define it. So that means I have a vertical line through that point. I really wish I could figure out how to get a ruler going on for me. There's probably a way to do it. There's probably an app that does it, or some setting I can turn on to give myself a ruler. So and then I want to make sure I label this point. This was the point -3, -2. Now I have a vertical line, so I have undefined slope.